Kalum. Chapter 7. The Living Soul. Tablet 9. The Ego. Lo, Nuwapians, one of the schools which I, your master teacher known as the Reformer, El Mujadid, El Mukalis, Yanun, Rabboni, El Imam, and Melchizedek. I have many names for the many cloaks I wear. I must take you through is the school of the ego. Know ye that this is one of the hardest attributes to destroy. This is the attribute that is carried out mostly by the evil reptilian one, Sam-El, also known as Zuin, or the devil. He who is the son of Shakar and Melita. Reject him and his attributes, and let him or his followers not into your hearts, for he and they would only lead you through the doors of misery. However, through the teachings of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, also known as Amun, you can learn how to burn out the ego. Through the journey of this holy tablet, I will embark upon your minds the works of the ego. The ego is the self-arrogating aspect of the mind. The ego is the greatest obstacle to obtaining peace, for it is that which occupies the mind with whether we are better or worse, possess more or less, and have greater or lesser power than others. The ego is attained by desires, pride, anger, delusion, greed, jealousy, lust, hatred, racism, and leadership. The ego is the most difficult aspect of the mind to control, for its nature is such that it deludes even while one is striving to overcome it. When the ego is subdued, energies can then be utilized constructively for personal growth and the service of others. Tablet 10. The Power of Thought. Lo, all of ye enocytes project some kind of vibrations to those around them. Some are pleasant to be with. They seem to have a certain energy that they share with others. Then there are those who are absorbed by the negative and depressed, and they seem to actually draw energy out of people in their environment. The reason for this, my child, is because there is a power contained in thought. Know ye that it is very subtle, yet it does exist, and it is extremely powerful. Whether a person is aware of it or not, the enocyte is constantly transmitting and receiving thoughts. This, my child, is why people have experiences of what you call ESP, or extrasensory perception, from time to time. Some wish to call these experiences coincidence, but they are not. Every thought has weight, shape, size, form, color, quality, and power. For example, a spiritual thought has a blue color. When you combine yellow and blue, you get green, the green light. While yet, a thought charged with anger and hatred bears the color red. A thought is like an object, just as an apple can be given to your friend or taken back. So also it is possible to give a useful, powerful thought to someone and take it back. There is a power, an energy, into which each person can tap if the enocyte only knows it is available to them. This force inspires, encourages, reinforces, and gives strength to all those who seek to grow in a positive direction. Many enocytes, however, are unaware of this resource, or they have a misconception about it. They are like the farmer who moved to a house in the city, and they live in darkness because he or she did not know what those strange sockets in the walls were. The light is there and available to all. John 1:5 states, "The light shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended not." We need only to connect ourselves with the current and become a child of light. That literally means that the light force shines in the darkness, and the darkness has never been able to put it out or comprehend it. And again, in El Holy Garun, the 57th chapter, the 28th verse, originally 94:28, in part, it says, "He will provide for you a light by which ye shall walk straight in your path." And also in Daniel's, the first degree, the 22nd verse, which was given to our prophet Daniel, son of Jara, and Gabar, which it says, "He reveals deep and secret things. He know what is in the darkness, and the light dwell within him." The law of fate, Gador. The law of fate, my child, there is a law in physics that states, for every action there is an equal opposite reaction. To express it popularly, it is said that what goes around comes around. Yahshua HaMashiach, whom ye Christians call Jesus, and ye Mohammedans call Isa, who is known spiritually as Sananda taught, these are all expressions of the law of fate, of cause and effect. Whatever thought or deed comes from a person will be returned to that Enocyte. It may not come in the same form, but sooner or later each person will confront the result of his or her own actions. These reactions are not always experienced immediately. Sometimes Enocytes' reactions are not easily learned, and negative patterns may be concentrated for many years. A single lifetime, my child, may not be sufficient for one to obtain perfection. Some people create a hell for themselves. This is why some people may have it hard and others have it easy. One healthy and another is crippled. One is cheerful and another is depressed. One extroverted and the other is introverted. One successful and the other unsuccessful. It is neither cruel fate nor a distant and unconcerned fate that set the stage for these situations, but one's own fate, you. As revealed to our servant Ahmed, who is called in tones Ahmad and in rhythms Mohammed, who is the son of Abdullah and Amina. It is he who received El's Quran from the Anunnaki Elohim Nusku, and he who bears the title Gibrael, son of Razael and Zamael, where it states in the original order, the 92nd chapter, the 79th verse in part, an Enocyte's life is his or her own responsibility. Tablet 11. Health and relaxation. Lo, O my children, what I must impart upon your minds is the importance of healthy mind, body, and soul, and proper relaxation. Remember, my child, the very words healthy and health begins with the word heal. To heal one's self is step one. To heal one's mind will heal one's whole body, and relaxation is simply to learn to relax. What ye must always remember is, by taking proper care of your physical body, you are protecting your inner spirit. And by poisoning your physical body, be it through drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, junk food, sugars, or salt, and I can go on, you are doing serious harm to your spirit, and it becomes weaker and weaker. Through the teachings of the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek, Amun, you will be taught on how to nourish your body as well as your soul. Know ye that proper exercise, proper breathing, proper relaxation, proper diet, and intake of much water, and positive thinking are the requisite attendant that leads to a healthy, dynamic, and effective existence. Proper relaxation is needed to maintain mental, spiritual, and physical health. Many of you think that relaxation involves leaving home for some exotic place where the mind and body are ceaselessly pumped with stimulants and depressants, and a full range of other damaging delights. True relaxation comes from removing the stimuli, visual, edible, and otherwise, and turning into the inner awareness. Like any piece of sturdy machinery, Enocytes' physical and mental bodies can take quite a bit of abuse before giving any signs of protest. Unfortunately, in Western thinking, it has become a practice to ignore the basic rule of health and the concept to think that a pill here or there will relieve symptoms. Will actually brings about well-being, and quite the opposite is true. Pain in the body is a warning, like a red light on the instrument panel of a car. Taking this or that compound of chemical to remove the symptom is the same as taking a hammer and breaking the red light. It does nothing to solve the problem, and in fact may make it worse, while only giving the appearance of helping. Many chemicals ingested are not useful to the body and cannot be eliminated, and are therefore merely stored. The medicines accumulated, along with the food additives that are eaten in such abundance, on the average of 25 pounds per person per year, they combine with each other to literally poison the system. The effects may not be felt for many years. This does not mean that there is no need for modern medicine, yet the herb of your own choice is much better. But often doctors are considered to have some form of absolute knowledge. Too often, frequent visits to the local GP, general practitioner, specialist, or psychologist are substituted for living a healthy life. Most of the disease of the mind and body can be eliminated by following the 5 basic points. Tablet 12, Diet. Lo, thou shalt ponder on taking proper diet for thyself, which ye can learn through the teachings of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. Improper diet is another hindrance to spiritual progress. All foods have distinct energies, just as the physical body is formed from the gross physical portion of the foods that are eaten, so the mind is formed from the more subtle portions. If the food is impure, the mind also becomes impure. Cigarettes, liquor, narcotics, and fast food, and too much meat are the most detrimental. In fact, meat at all. Meals should be simple, light, and nutritious. Seafood, my child, is healthy, however not in excess. Most people eat far more than is necessary, merely out of habit or for a sense of gratification. An immoderate diet is the cause of the great majority of diseases, which are encountered in modern society. The mind is always looking for an excuse to avoid discipline. You must always listen to the inner voice of the self. There is 2 sides to you, 180 degrees of agreeable and 180 degrees of disagreeable. 1% is all that is needed to shift your emotions. 181 to the left starts the path of the disagreeable action, or very agreeable. You are in control. Listen to the voice of agreeable things, then rather than to the complaints of the disagreeable mind. What goes into the human body correlates directly to the efficiency with the brain functions. Recent studies show that certain red food coloring creates hyperactivity in the children, and that refined sugar can cause emotional instability, and this is what most start their children on. These are just 2 examples of the substances that are heedlessly consumed, without understanding the effects on the body and mind, each of which have 2 parts. The body is 1, voluntary, 2, involuntary. That which you control and that which takes control of itself. The mind, 1, good and 2, evil, which also try to take control. Many intakes are bad, although not categorized as harmful foods. These substances should be strictly avoided. Marijuana, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. There is a growing awareness that our health is directly affected by what we eat. Almost any disease can be cured by either a change in diet or a short period of fasting, and with no medication at all. This is not only true of physical disorders, but of many mental difficulties as well. It is particularly important that pregnant mothers have this awareness. Far too often they do not realize the effects of their diet on the developing fetus. Contrary to the popular concept, it is not vegetarians who do not get enough protein, but rather heavy meat eaters who take in an excess of protein. Animal protein contains high concentration of uric acid, which is a nitrogen compound similar to ammonia. It is not water soluble and it cannot be broken down by the liver. Thus, though a certain amount is eliminated, the greater portion of uric acid is deposited in the joints. The results of this is referred to as arthritis. Hardening of the arteries and heart disease are two of the most common maladies in the Western world, where the greatest amount of meat is consumed. The culprit, my child, is cholesterol, which also cannot be eliminated from the body. This forms fatty deposits along the walls of the heart and arteries, and this gradually thickening until they are clogged and inflexible. The major source of cholesterol comes from the hundreds of pounds of animal tissue and its fats that each person consumes each year. Heart disease, hardening of the arteries, and arthritis are common infirmities. However, the one that strikes the most fear in the heart of Westerners is cancer. Many substances have been found to create cancers in animals. However, results always seem to indicate that the amount consumed by the average person is insufficient to create cancer. What is not revealed is that the accumulation of these poisons over a period of years does create cancer. These substances have innumerable chemicals that are injected into the animals. These increase weight to yield more dollars per animal. Nitrites, food coloring, artificial hormones, and even arsenic are amongst the chemicals contained in animal flesh by the time it goes on the supermarket shelf. These, plus the many other additives consumed by members of an industrialized society, collect in the body and they are stored in the tissues. Cancer occurs when the cells react to these excessive toxins in a sense, mutating into cells which reproduce uncontrollably. So much for the horrors of the meat industry. There are several other interesting physical and spiritual reasons for not eating meat. One is that it takes 4 times as much grain to feed animals than for an enocyte to consume it directly. This raises a moral question in regards to sharing our resources with poorer people. Plants are the original source of energy for all living things, as they store the energy of Shamash, the sun, through photosynthesis. A person who does not eat a lot of meat not only taxes nourishment from the original source, but their diet is more economical with regards to cost, and it's the best utilization of available land. Seafood is very good for you, but that too can be taken in excess. Another more interesting fact is that an enocyte digestive system is not one of a carnivore. His or her teeth are designed through mutation for biting and mashing original vegetables. But after so much mixing now, many Nubians have canine teeth for tearing flesh, which is why enocyte ages, tenderizes, and cooks his or her meat to make it more eatable. Diet also alters the person's very appearance from human to animal, as well as his or her nature. Meat eaters are much more violent. The human liver is proportionately smaller than that of a meat-eating animal, and it is not built to handle the filtering of animal poisons. Also, the alimentary canal, which is short in carnivorous animals, speeds poison through the body quickly. It is quite long in the anal site, as it is in any vegetarian animal. Note the untruth that you need meat or that you will lose weight if you don't eat meat. Herbivores are much larger than carnivorous animals.